Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.
A very warm welcome to you. If you have just joined us, it's Radio 786 broadcasting 100.4 FM, also 1584 medium wave in Pretoria. A beautiful Thursday morning, alhamdulillah. And today marks the 18th day of January. Can you believe it? We just started with January and we're on the 18th already, and it corresponds with the 30th day of Rabiul Akhir 1439. Coming up in the program this morning, Community Pulse, some of the highlights. Of course, Dr. Faiez Kirsten takes over on a Thursday morning between 9 and 10. And we take a look, seeing that we are still in the first month of the year, we take a look at goal setting and goal achieving. And we know that there are many New Year resolutions that we normally make during the end of a year and the start of a new year. So we're looking at some of the goals that we would like to set and looking at some of the ways we can easily achieve those goals, inshallah. That with Dr. Faiez Kirsten, who joins me in studio at the first hour. Also join Mishka Muhammad between 10 and 11 as she brings you the latest as to what's happening in and around your community. That is also with the latest update, weekly update with the South African National Zakah Fund, joining her at about 10:15 this morning. Catch the latest job offers just before 11 o'clock. All that and more, you're on Radio 786 and 100.4 FM, also 1584 medium wave in Pretoria. Now, Dr. Faiez joins me. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Faiez, and shukran for being here. How are you this morning?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well, shukran.
That's good, very good. It's January, it's 18th, and it's a time where I think maybe at the very beginning, many of us may have thought about some goals in terms of setting those goals and achieving it. And so, inshallah, we will be looking at that, but I'm sure that you'd like to recap where we left off the last time, inshallah.
Yes. What did we discuss? Oh, yes, we discussed electromagnetic field. That's right. Last week. Time really flies. It's the 18th today. It's unbelievable, actually. But they say if you're not setting goals and you're going backwards, because without setting goals, you really don't know where you're going in life, and everything is going forward. So you just basically either stagnating or going backwards. So goal setting is very important. Last week we spoke about EMFs. I don't think there's much more to talk about that.
But I know you had the names of the books that people are.
Oh yes, the vaccine. There's two books. When we spoke about vaccines a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned two books, and the one book that if listeners would like to read is called Vaccine Epidemic, and the subtitle is How Corporate Greed, Bias, Science, and Coercive Government Threaten Our Human Rights, Our Health, and Our Children. And that's by Louis Kuo Habacus and Mary Holland, who's an attorney. Yeah. The other one is called Vaccine Illusion, and the subtitle is How Vaccination Compromises Our Natural Immunity and What We Can Do to Regain Our Health. And that's by Tatiana Obukanic. She's a PhD immunologist. It's two very important books. I have Vaccine Illusion in PDF format, so if anybody wants a copy of Vaccine Illusion, it's actually freely available, I think, on the net anyway. But if you want a copy from me, I can email you a copy. Just send me an SMS or an email. Yeah.
So getting into the topic for this morning, goal setting and goal achieving. So I'd like to really get into the why and the how of goal setting.
Yes, goal setting is very, very important. You can't achieve anything in life if you don't set goals. The thing is, people have always asked us on the show for solutions. Now, we've been talking about solutions for a long time, and every time we do talk about solutions, but people keep asking for solutions. Obviously, we can't break down all the solutions in a very short period of time on a specific topic every show. But I think the ultimate solution really is for all of us to aim for raising our consciousness trifecta, to raise the level of, or to develop our minds, our bodies, and our spiritual connection. That, I think, should be the ultimate goal on this earth, really. Because I think the main problem, we're facing today is the low level of development of our consciousness trifecta. And because we, and I always come back to this, our perceptions are being managed all the time. And without a high level of consciousness, the guys or those people with these diabolical intentions managing our perceptions are always winning, this battle. So we need to then raise our level of consciousness so that we can get around this perception management and this program distraction, or they call it program ignorance. They're keeping us away from the truth, basically. So there's many things that people believe because their perceptions are being managed, and so these are actually misperceptions because based on false belief. A simple one is, if you believe that, for example, banks are intermediaries between savers and borrowers, if you believe that is the reality, then your perceptions you're under misperception. You have the wrong belief about that, basically. If you're not taking your health seriously and you think you're going to remain healthy without doing anything about your health, that's a misperception. You living the world that we live in, you are going to get sick if you don't take active steps, to try and minimize your risk of getting sick, for example. So, for example, another example is if you believe that corporations are real things and they can have rights over human beings, or just have rights in the first place if they don't exist. That is a misperception, you're coming from a wrong belief, basically. So setting goals and achieving goals is very important, and that's really our duty as human beings, let alone as Muslims. You're here not to do nothing. You're here to basically, live out your purpose, basically, and that is to worship God, which is not just making salah 5 times a day. It's a whole subject on its own, what worship is. And one of them is basically, or the main part of it, I would say, is basically to set and achieve goals, So we have this massive potential in us, Allah created us, in perfection. And He says that in the Quran, you ask in one of the verses, you won't see a flaw in the creation of Allah, So, and He says, and by the soul and by Him who perfectly proportioned it, So there's a part of ourselves, our higher self, which is basically has an image of perfection, okay? And so you'll find your higher self is always striving for perfection, striving to better yourself, okay? But there are, diabolical forces which are also striving to take that away from you. And so this is battle between your higher self and your lower self, and these forces that are sort of, controlling your mind. So you got to take active steps, basically, to set and achieve goals. And there's a real science behind that. There's a real science behind it. We know why it works. So goal setting is really about deciding what your goals are what you want to achieve. That's, you decide that, and then you write it down, and then you set a deadline. That's setting the goal. So achieving the goal is basically taking the next step, which is action. Okay, so without action, you're not going to get anywhere. You can set your goals, for as long as you like, but if you don't take action, then you're never going to achieve the goal. And Allah says He won't change the condition of the people unless they first change their inner self. So whatever is keeping you back from achieving your goal, you got to change that. Only then will you achieve your goal.
Absolutely. Now, you are listening to Dr. Faiez Kirsten, who joins me every Thursday between 9 and 10. And this morning, we're particularly focusing on goal setting and goal achieving. Now, personally for me, goals gives us destination. It gives a destination and also a tangible standard to strive to achieve. It also helps you to manage your time, because when you know you're aiming, you work purposefully towards this. And also it keeps us focused, but ultimately it brings meaning to everything that you do, to all the efforts that you put in, because there's a purpose and there's the actual reason why you're doing it. But before we continue discussing this, we also have a caller, Dr. Faiez. You're live, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Zainabin. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. I'm very well.
I'm going to ask Zainabin now. She sounds very good, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Doctor, before I'm going to say what I have to say, I just want to come from a point that so that you can understand why I'm saying this. Our individuality, our creativity, and our thinking, and our objectivity has totally been taken, has totally been made subservient to the wishes of those that are ruling us. Now, because we talk so much about we must do that, but people cannot do that because of their mind, because of their mindset. Now, I'm coming to the point, and why I'm saying this, according to the mindset, how they were brought up, how they were taught. Now, likewise, Doctor, some time ago, in fact, I've been bringing this up for many, many years, already, but you also brought it up, some time ago, where we have been made subservient to the wishes of those that rules us. Now, likewise, the Saudi government, the Arabs, the so-called kingdom, the ones that rules, how can I say, Arabia. Now, that's the only country who's got the name of a family next to the country. Now, for many, many years, I've been saying that these people are Zionists. Now, is it possible, Doctor, please, you must elaborate on this. Is it possible that the scholars that came from that country, from the Saudi government, that they were indoctrinated to teach us in a manner that keeps us subservient, spirituality, to do with spirituality only, not with the pragmatism of our Quran? Is it possible that our individuality has been taken away by the way we were taught by the scholars that come from Saudi Arabia? Because Saudi Arabia spread their doctrines, their way of life throughout the world because they are funding these people. Now, don't you think, Doctor, that it's time for us to relook at how we were taught by these scholars and what we were taught by these scholars, so that we can get back our creativity, our that individuality, and our thinking, where we can think and question. But we have not been made to do these things. We have been made subservient. That's why it's difficult for people to do things, because they fear this, they fear that, they fear that. Please, Doctor, can you elaborate on this?
Shukran so much. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Faiez.
This is a whole subject on its own, really, and we have touched on it in the past, and it has to do with goal setting and goal achievement. I don't want to actually go for the tangent, because I really wanted to talk on goal setting and goal achievement, but the brother's absolutely right. You must be able to connect the dots, okay? That's very important. You must be able to understand the globalist agenda and be able to connect the dots to understand what is going on in the world, and all the points that the brother brought up there is absolutely correct. It's a whole subject on its own, and I will really be going off at a tangent rather than talking on goal setting and goal achievement. But yes, you can see the allies of the Saud, the House of Saud, the House of Rothschilds, they work together, and obviously the House of Rothschild set up and created Israel, and the globalist agenda is about controlling everybody, okay? We just spoke about mind control now. So yes, I don't want to really go down that road today, but you must be able to connect the dots and understand how the globalist agenda, what its real intentions are. And so the only way they can really, finally achieve their goal of world domination is to control the minds of the masses, And if we don't, and that's why I say it's so important really to raise your level of consciousness. Without doing that, without that being your primary goal, developing your intellectual mind, your emotional mind, your physical body, your health, your wellness, and your spiritual connection, you've lost the war, you've lost the battle. You've absolutely completely lost if you're not doing that on a daily basis, because these forces are exceptionally dark, they're exceptionally powerful, and they control everything, including the education system. So your kids in school, basically every single day, they are being taken down a road that is too ghastly to contemplate, if I can put it that way. So I don't want to go down that road today. It's a really dark subject, let me put it that way. And I was hoping to speak more about something lighter, in terms of setting goals and achieving those goals.
27 minutes past 9 o'clock on Radio 786, goal setting and how to achieve those goals. That is the discussion we are having. So if you would like to be part of it, please do contribute by giving us a call, 021-699-1786. You may also WhatsApp your comments or questions to 0786 10 11 12. Dr. Faiez, Kirsten in studio with me this morning discussing this further. Now, before we took the caller, I mentioned that goals gives us some sort of a destination and also a tangible standard to strive to achieve.
Yes. Aldous Huxley actually said, there's only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that is your own self. Okay? So you can't improve somebody else. Like I always tell my patients, I can't make you better. I can't make you healthy. Only you can do that, but I can tell you what to do. I can guide you. I can give you all the information, all the advice, but ultimately it's only you that can take the action. Only you that can ultimately decide, because your body's, designed to heal. But if you don't do what's necessary to heal, and only you can do that, then you won't get better. So same with a goal. I mean, only you can take the action. and only you can set goals that are meaningful to you. You mentioned a word before the call or calls, something called reason. You mentioned reason. Without having a reason to achieve a goal, you'll never achieve. The chances of you achieving the goal are very minimal. You must have a reason. The reason is what drives you forward. It motivates you, gives you a subconscious, that oomph, let me put it that way, to keep you going every day to achieve that goal. Yeah.
We do have two callers holding. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam to you, ladies, salam to you, and Professor. If I want to ask the question, maybe you can enlighten me, or whatever the case may be. We got a drought in Cape Town at the present moment. I would like to know what amount of water the breweries take in Newlands. Now, to me, alcohol in particular in the Western Cape, it goes however, especially at this festive season, throughout the year, in fact, because people intoxicated, they kill one another and what have you. But we've been speaking about this for some time, nobody doing anything. Isn't it high time that the grouping is being formed to tell the government what amount of water does this entity take away from the people? First of all, alcohol is, to us, especially as Muslims, we shouldn't be afraid. It's an evil, similar to drugs. It's in a similar vein. And if you go just past Cape Town, you get a big stretch of just one reason. I love grapes. I love it. But it's simply only grapes and to do what? To intoxicate the people. And there's hardly any land for the people to build houses. But my point is this. We're speaking about this. We see this every year, every day. People have been skilled, being crime is high because of alcohol and drugs. Why don't we form a grouping and challenge these people?
Okay, brother, we have another.
I suppose we can't stop liquor, then going back in Blokkiesdorp, and we can utilize that water that comes to the mountain, and maybe it can ease the people's shortage of water in Cape Town.
Okay.
We're just going to speak about this and don't do something constructive about it.
Okay, brother, shukran so much for your contribution. We have one more caller holding. Yilavani, assalamu alaikum.
Hi, assalamu alaikum. It's Anisa Tehran here. I just wanted to contribute to the show and say Jazakallah khairan for a very enlightening show and something I'm very passionate about.
Afwan.
And I have to agree with Doctor that it is ultimately a brain science around setting goals and going out to achieve it. And having been exposed to some of the neuroscience methodologies in coaching that I've done myself, it is very interesting that if we do not rewire our brain, we will never be able to fulfill in achieving our goals, because then there would just be goals with no achievement. And it is about celebrating the individual milestones along the way. And I can certainly relate to what you were saying earlier on. You focus your time and effort much better in the end because you have a very clearly set out goal and you start to monitor and track the progress of where you are with that. Thanks for the opportunity, and I'm going to listen further to an enlightening show as always.
Shukran to you for calling. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Faiez.
When the first caller, I wasn't really sure what his point was, but I think he asked why aren't people doing anything about the water and alcohol and all of that. All of these things we see in society, all these ills are basically not a mistake or some random occurrence. These are all designed, okay? It's designed to be this way. In fact, Judge Napolitano in America wrote a book called Nation of Sheep, where people don't stand up to what government does, and they just accept everything and anything that the people in authority do. And in the end of the day, we all suffer because of that. So it's our level of consciousness which is not high enough, to basically take a stand. Let me put it that way. And we need to start looking at that. Coming back specifically to brain science, I wrote a book called, what it was called? Achieve Your Goal Using Brain Research Discoveries, and it describes 18 or 16 different brain research discoveries. And then also 16 or 18 different techniques and practices that you can use to achieve your goals. And it's fascinating science, I must say, on goal setting and achievement, the science behind it. So you must decide, first of all, really what you want, and then decide, what you're prepared to give up, to get it. And then set your mind, on working and getting it, basically. Yeah.
A lot of people say that it has a lot to do with how badly you want whatever it is that you want, isn't it? But let's first go to the lines. 11 Radio 786. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abdullah and I'm from Somalia. I would like to ask the doctor one question out of the topic. I would like to ask what makes the Safa a Muslim country and how they can get it back again, a better life. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Faiez, did you get the question?
Something about Muslim countries and a better life.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, I would like to ask you, the doctor, what makes Safa a Muslim countries, like where I'm from and other Muslim countries. So, and I would like to ask you, the doctor, how they can get it back to better life and
I see.
Yes.
Again.
Yes. Okay, inshallah. Shukran for your question. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Well, it looks like it's a political show today. So let's go down that road a bit. First of all, there's no Muslim countries today. We just have to accept that. There's no such a thing as a Muslim country, an Islamic country, okay? Because they all basically have to follow the globalist agenda, the United Nations Charter, which says that there's no higher law than the United Nations Charter. So God's law doesn't really feature in any country's laws, basically. It's all man's law, the United Nations Charter, which most governments, including so-called Islamic countries, are signatories to. So we must stop deluding ourselves that there's a thing called an Islamic country or a Muslim country. That doesn't exist anymore. And, if I'm wrong, then I'm happy to have a discussion with whoever my critics are, okay? Also, it's not possible to basically be a Muslim and be part of government, or be a Christian and be part of government. It's not possible. There's something called the law of, I call it a law, it probably is a law, principle of mutual exclusivity. So you can't be pregnant and non-pregnant at the same time. You can't be dead and alive at the same time. You can't say God's law is above man's law and at the same time say man's law is above God's law. That's not common sense, okay? For example, if you take the South African Constitution, it mandates the paying and the charging of usury, of interest. That's the law, okay? That's the law. That's man's law. Man said you will pay interest on your loans, okay? If you don't, we will beat you up, whatever we're going to do to you. The Quran says you must have nothing to do with interest. So you can't say, I follow the Quran and also follow the Constitution, because that's just not possible. It's not possible. It's impossible. Simply, I don't know how to put it. It's just completely impossible. These two things are mutually exclusive, okay? But we delude ourselves. Human beings have this propensity to delude themselves. You have some ladies who basically say, I'm pregnant. And you'll see her abdomen swelling up. But it's a false pregnancy. She's not pregnant, but she believes she's pregnant. It's called pseudocyesis. It's a false pregnancy. But she believes she's pregnant. Now she actually looks pregnant. So you'll see a lot of people looking like Muslims with big toppies on and that, I'm not here to judge anybody, and I speak to myself first. But we're just talking on a specific subject and I'm just giving you my opinions. So you can't be one and another thing at the same time. But you can delude yourself, basically, that you are. So how can Muslim countries improve themselves? First of all, there's no Muslim country. But human beings individually can improve themselves. And we're speaking about that today, yeah.
Goal setting and goal achieving with Dr. Faiez Kirsten. We are in fact due for a break, but I will read one of the WhatsApp messages that came via 0786 1011 12. Assalamu alaikum. I am a 70-year-old granny and I always had the desire to improve my tajweed because I knew that I don't recite correctly. I started attending classes a year ago and today I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding me and granting me the opportunity. I feel privileged, alhamdulillah. Shukr. Now I have more goals, inshallah. And so I think that just shukran for sharing how a goal was set and effort was made, sacrifice was made, and the results were seen at the end, alhamdulillah.
Absolutely. Alhamdulillah,
and we can only take heed from that.
Yeah,
let's take that short break, inshallah. And after the break, we will continue. It's Community Pulse on Radio 786 100.4 FM. And we're talking about goal setting. It is the first month of the new year 2018. And of course, goals has been one of the things that has been on all our minds, and the new year resolutions, etc. So we take a look at setting goals, but also how to work towards achieving it, inshallah. Dr. Faiez in studio with me this morning. Stay tuned.
Radio 786, 100.4 FM stereo.
Radio 786 and 100.4 FM, and also Community Pulse broadcasting this morning. Also on 1584 medium wave in Pretoria. And we're having a very interesting discussion on goal setting and goal achieving. Now, I want to move on, Dr. Faiez, to achieving those goals. Now, there may be sometimes we have certain, not baddies, but certain things that keeps us from achieving our goals. And one of it that I find quite interesting is that we underestimate ourselves. We sometimes think that the goal that we may be setting may be above us, or we may never reach it. Although we want it, but because we have that kind of mindset, I think that sometimes hinders the result of such a goal.
Absolutely. If you program with subconscious beliefs that are limiting, self-destructive, beliefs of hopelessness, powerlessness, worthlessness, these are self-limiting, self-destructive beliefs, then you won't be able to achieve your goal, because these beliefs are going to keep you back. Okay, whatever's in your subconscious, that's basically what determines how your life's going to turn out. So it's your duty, if you want to achieve a goal, to make sure that you eliminate all these negative, self-destructive, self-limiting beliefs, and then program in beliefs relating to your goal. Okay, so whatever's in your subconscious is like a butler. It'll follow all the instructions that are there, and it'll basically do whatever you tell it to do. So whatever's there, you need to identify, clear from your subconscious, and basically put in new beliefs which are related to your goal. That's one part of goal setting, is really to do that. You must also, obviously, there's different categories of goals. You have your personal development goals, you have your material goals, your financial goals, and so forth. And sometimes when people write goals, when it comes to material stuff, they go really crazy. I want to live in this triple-story mansion and have 20 cars and all of these things. It's fine, to have material stuff, but just remember there's this consumerism thing that we have to think about, and that we basically program just to consume mindlessly. We buy stuff that we don't really need, just what we want. I think we should really strive for, when it comes to goals, is to strive for financial freedom, health freedom, political freedom, economic freedom. Because basically what the globalist agenda is about enslavement. And so if we can all, strive for freedom in all these different areas, that'll be a worthwhile achievement. If we can do it collectively, then we'll beat the globalist agenda. Okay, we'll overcome it. But if we're all striving individually for, to live in our own little paradise here on earth, then, you're playing right into the hands of the guys who are controlling your mind, basically. So there's different categories of goals, and you must write them down and then work through from there. But you must know where you're going, first of all, when it comes to your goals. And the other thing that you must know is you must know that you're going to get there. And visualization is a powerful tool that you must use in order to achieve your goal. When I did the MBA, I was visualizing myself climbing a cliff, a mountain cliff, which is vertical. I was actually scaling this cliff, and all I was doing is one step at a time. One step at a time. Every day, I could just see the top of this mountain, which is a vertical cliff that I was scaling. And all I could see myself was at the top of this mountain, which was basically getting this qualification. And that's how I got the MBA, by visualizing myself climbing this vertical cliff one step at a time. Any obstacle that came my way, I just said, okay, this is just another step to overcome. And that's how I got it, And visualization is a very powerful tool, exceptionally powerful. How the mind works and how the brain is structured when it comes to visualization is extremely amazing and powerful.
You mentioned to write your goals down. I think that's important. It was Mark Victor Hansen who said that, don't just think it, ink it. And so I think definitely something that we should try and do. We do have a caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and your honorable guests and all your listeners.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In fact, I would like to add to what the doctor was saying about changing of mindset and belief. That is very important, because if our belief remains stagnant and we can't open up and reason and analyze, then unfortunately we're going to suffer the consequences. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran beautifully, Allah has sent messengers to people before us. And what happened? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wiped them out and destroyed them by becoming skilled mentally and spiritually, and by putting them in the state of becoming poverty or depending on their survival on the enemy. Now, this is exactly what is happening to the Muslim and Arab world. they depend for their survival on the non-Muslim countries because they can't figure out, they can't do things for themselves. They become hopeless. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when He punishes you under those conditions, it's for you to humble yourself and to reflect. But unfortunately, people are not prepared to humble themselves and reflect. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah will not punish a people or a nation unless He sends a prophet to warn them that they must reform themselves. Well, that's why Allah also says, Allah will not leave the believers in the condition that they are in until they separate the good ones from the wicked ones. Nor will He reveal His unseen except to those whom He chooses to be as messengers, whom He chooses to be, not chose. So believe in Allah and His messengers. And if you believe in Allah and His messengers, you will have a greater from your. So your reward will be material and spiritual, provided that you change your condition. And if you're not prepared to change your condition, you're going to suffer the consequences. Jazakumullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, no, the brother's right there. Shukran for that. Appreciate that. Yeah. The way we think, our belief system is very, very important, and that's the way they really get us, is to by planting beliefs in our subconscious, basically, so that we can live our lives according to how they want us to live our lives. And that's basically what they've achieved. Just called mind control, mind programming. So we have to reprogram ourselves, change our beliefs to work for us, not against us, basically. So we spoke about the why, which is the why do you want this goal? That's the reason, and you must have emotions attached to your goal. So how's this goal going to make you feel? You must understand that. Very important to have emotions attached to it. And then the next thing is how. What you're going to do to achieve this goal? And oftentimes people set massive goals and they get stressed out. I'm not going to achieve this goal. It's so huge, So a goal's supposed to stretch you, not stress you, okay? So what you must do is you need to chunk down the goal, okay? You need to chunk it down into different... In fact, Lisa Nichols said you must break it down into milestones. So underneath this big goal, you have these milestones. And then under the milestones, you have these action steps, okay? And so every day you work on the action steps until you achieve the milestones. You don't focus on the big goal, okay? Because that will stress you out if it's too big, okay? Just focus on the action steps every day. Obviously, you got to write them down. And then you achieve the milestones. And then the next thing you work on the next set of action steps. And then finally you'll find you've achieved your goal, okay? But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. If you try to eat the whole elephant in one go, you're never going to do that. One bite at a time, yeah.
10 to 10 on Radio 786, and about 5 minutes left before we need to conclude. You can still WhatsApp your comments, questions, 0786 10 11 12, or you can give us a call on 0216991786. Now, I'd like to talk, Dr. Faiez, about realistic goals, but before we go there, let's first go to the lines. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, 0216991786 or 0786 10 11 12. Dr. Faiez, sometimes we maybe not all the time, but I think sometimes we do set unrealistic goals. And I think one of the important things is to be real about the goals that you set.
Oh, that's such a very, very important point there, Zainab. Shukran for bringing it up. Your goal must be realistic. Your subconscious must believe this goal is attainable. So if you say, I think I want to go to the moon, on this aeroplane. That's not possible, actually, So it mustn't be an impossible, silly goal like I just gave the silly example. But it must be believable and it must be attainable, okay? Then you'll achieve it. If you do the things in the right way, you will achieve that goal. But it must be believable and attainable. Otherwise, it'll just be a fantasy that you'll never achieve. Yeah.
In case you want to maybe set a goal that you want to marry some
celebrity.
Yeah, that's like 100 miles away, and yes, so keep those goals real. We have one message via WhatsApp that reads, Assalamu alaikum, goal should also be smart. We should make smart goals. That is, it should be realistic. It should be simple. You should be able to meet its requirements, and also it must be attainable. I think that spells smart.
Yeah. I think it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, something like that. Yeah.
So smart goals do set smart goals. Now, coming back to achieving those goals, what are the basic or what is the recipe to achieving the goals, or the ingredients to being 100% sure that the goal will be achieved?
You must know in your mind you're going to achieve the goal. Because if you have any doubt...
Not just know, I think you must believe that you will achieve it.
Yeah, you'll know. If you believe it, then you'll know it. If you believe it, then you'll know that you basically are going to achieve this goal. But you must make sure there's nothing keeping you back from the goal. And what I'm talking about again is self-limiting beliefs. That's so important to identify those. And there's tools that you can use to clear these negative beliefs from your subconscious. EFT is a very powerful one, emotional freedom technique. But there's rules basically that you must follow. Like we just mentioned SMART there, but you must take immediate action. You can't just sit around and think about the goal all day long. You must think about your goal for sure, but you must take action, okay? And you must write your goals down, like you said. You must have a deadline. You must be brief. Don't write a whole story for one goal. Just be brief, and be specific, like we mentioned. Provide reasons, quantity. If you want to have a specific income or whatever, write the quantity. Only set goals which you can control, not which other people, can control. I mean, you can't set a goal that depends on somebody else, achieving that goal. You must set a goal that only you can control. And you must set big goals. Don't set a small goal and then achieve it and think you've achieved something great. Rather set a big goal, get frustrated in achieving it, but you would have achieved more. Rather than setting a small goal and getting excited, but it was small goal. So yeah.
Here's one picture message we received, and it says daily inspiration: goal setting. An unfulfilled goal is as temporary or permanent as your mindset and action allow it to be.
An unfulfilled goal
is as temporary or permanent as your mindset and action allow it to be. Maybe something to ponder about.
That sounds like a puzzle to me. I have to figure that one out.
Okay. It's time for us to conclude, Dr. Faiez. I think one thing I think we should definitely include in this conversation is that we must realize that our goals need to be in line with whatever Allah will be pleased with when we do set goals, but also that sometimes we may not always achieve our goals, and we must be okay with the loss of not achieving a goal. And this is a part of how we grow. I mean, we always mention the verse in chapter 3 verse 54 that Allah is the best of planners, no matter how we plan, isn't it?
Very true, very true. But you must try everything that you can to achieve your goal. Be flexible. If things don't work out, try something else. But the Prophet ﷺ said something very profound. He said, whatever was meant to escape you will never reach you, and what was meant to reach you can never escape you.
So I think on that note, we will leave it this morning, and that's some food for thought this morning. Dr. Faiez, Kirsten, of course, talking about achieving goals and also how to set goals and some of the steps that needs to be taken in terms of that. Dr. Faiez, just your contact details for those who would like further information.
It's 078-416-2673. 078-416-2673.
There you have it. And also, if you missed the details, you can always call us at reception and we will provide you with those information, inshallah. It is Community Pulse, Radio 786 100.4 FM. 4 minutes to 10 o'clock. We'll take the break and then the news at 10, inshallah. And of course, Mishka Muhammad then takes over with the latest as to what's happening in and around your community. And remember that she'll also be bringing you today the weekly update with the South African National Zakah Fund. Don't miss it, and stay tuned to 100.4 FM.